The room didn't just light up when Dove Cameron and Avan Jogia walked in. It softened. You could feel it immediately. This wasn't just another press stop, another promotional interview, or another celebrity soundbite designed to go viral. This was something different, something tender, something deeply human. Two actors, both riding powerful creative highs, sitting side by side, openly glowing as they spoke about the people they love and the futures they're building. And from the very first moment, it became clear this conversation was going to hit hearts. Both stars were there to promote their new project, 56 Days, streaming February 18th on Prime Video. But the film almost felt secondary to what unfolded next, because when the conversation shifted to love, commitment, and weddings, the energy changed completely. Smiles turned softer, voices grew quieter, eyes shimmered, and suddenly millions of fans watching around the world were invited into something intimate. An unfiltered look at what real love looks like when it finds you unexpectedly and refuses to let go. When the interviewer mentioned that both actors were engaged, the reaction was instant. Dove Cameron's face lit up in a way that couldn't be rehearsed. There was no performative excitement, just pure, unguarded joy. The kind that only shows up when someone says the name of the person who changed your life. And when she was asked what it was about Damiano David, the lead singer of Måneskin, that made her realize she wanted to spend forever with him, the answer came with emotion so raw it nearly stopped the room. She admitted she knew early, much earlier than she expected, and that realization scared her. Not because love felt wrong, but because it felt overwhelming in its certainty. She described that moment of panic that hits when your heart runs faster than your logic, when you realize you're already all in and hoping desperately the other person feels the same. It wasn't polished or poetic, it was honest, and that honesty made it powerful. As she continued, her words painted a portrait of Damiano David not as a rock star, but as a man grounded in integrity. She spoke of him as intentional, caring, deeply respectful, loyal, and emotionally present. She said she genuinely didn't know people like him existed in the world, that meeting him was a true emotional surprise, one that reshaped how she understood love. And as her voice cracked, it was impossible not to feel the weight of what she was saying. This wasn't celebrity romance fluff. This was someone recognizing a soulmate in real time. The moment became so emotional that even the interviewer admitted she was close to tears. And when Dove Cameron held up her engagement ring, sparkling under the lights, it wasn't about the size of the stone or the glamour. It was about what that ring represented, a promise rooted in emotional safety, mutual respect, and deep admiration. Then the conversation turned to Avan Joia, whose calm, thoughtful presence contrasted beautifully with the emotional intensity in the room. When asked what it was about Halsey that gave him those same goosebumps, his answer was slow, measured, and profoundly moving. He spoke about feeling lucky, not just to love her, but to walk through life alongside her, to bear witness to each other's growth, pain, joy, and evolution. For Avan Joia, love wasn't about perfection. It was about choosing each other through every version of who they become. He talked about how deeply he values having a partner who matches his creative intensity, someone who has something to say, something to express, and something to build, whether that's art, a shared life, or a future rooted in purpose. Finding Halsey, he said, was life-altering. Not dramatic, not exaggerated, just true. As the conversation flowed, it naturally shifted toward wedding planning, or at least the idea of it. And that's where the realities of celebrity life came into focus. Both admitted that planning massive events for a living makes the thought of orchestrating a wedding feel almost overwhelming. Avan Joia joked that they're always kind of wedding planning, but in an abstract, evolving way. The idea of something small, intimate, and deeply personal appealed far more than a lavish spectacle. For Avan, the dream leaned toward a backyard wedding, something grounded, private, and removed from the noise of public life, a space that belongs only to them. He talked about how much of their lives are constantly parceled out to the public, and how important it feels to keep this one just for themselves. Dove Cameron faces a beautiful complication. With Damiano David being from Rome, the idea of a wedding naturally points toward Italy. What feels like a destination wedding to some feels like home to others. She laughed about the reality of his massive Italian family, thousands of cousins, endless relatives, which means one thing is inevitable: the guest list will be huge. And yet there was warmth in that realization, a blending of cultures, a merging of worlds. When the conversation turned playful with a rapid-fire wedding game, it only deepened the intimacy. Destination or local? Big guest list or small? Emotional vows or funny ones? Their answers revealed not just preferences, but values. Both leaned toward emotional vows, but Dove Cameron made an unexpected confession. She doesn't believe public vows are everything. She finds something incredibly romantic about couples choosing to share those words privately, away from an audience. She shared that she had recently attended her brother's wedding, where the couple exchanged vows privately, and the tenderness of that choice stayed with her. It wasn't about performance, it was about connection. And that theme, choosing authenticity over expectation, echoed throughout the entire conversation. When asked about music at the wedding, laughter filled the room. Would Damiano David sing? Would Halsey perform? The idea was playful but revealing. Dove Cameron joked about how absurd it would be for her to turn her wedding into a solo performance, laughing at the idea of making it her moment. Still, she admitted there are artists whose music already holds deep meaning for them as a couple, including Nothing But Thieves, a band Damiano loves. As for Avan Jogia, he suspected Halsey would likely prefer not to sing at her own wedding, and that choice, too, felt intentional. Some moments are meant to be lived, not performed. Then came one of the most revealing moments of the entire interview, the wedding dress conversation. When asked what kind of bride she envisioned herself as, Dove Cameron surprised everyone by admitting she never pictured herself as a bride growing up. She explained that as a bisexual woman, marriage didn't always feel like a guaranteed future. There were years when it wasn't even legally recognized everywhere, so she didn't grow up dreaming of gowns or aisles or ceremonies. That honesty landed heavily. It reframed everything. Her journey to imagining a wedding wasn't rooted in childhood fantasy. It was built in adulthood, through love, safety, and choice. And when she finally did allow herself to dream, she realized she wanted something simple, ethereal, and magical. Not a costume, not a statement, something that felt like her, grounded in reality, but touched by fantasy. She described wanting a dress that feels intimate, intentional, and quietly powerful. Something that doesn't scream for attention, but invites awe. And when she said she'd know it the moment she put it on, the confidence in her voice said everything. This wasn't uncertainty. This was clarity earned through experience. Aan Joia, when asked about his own wedding look, leaned into his love for suiting, but emphasized something even more important, that whatever he wears should complement Halsey, so they feel like a unit, not two individuals standing side by side, but one shared presence stepping into a new chapter together. As the conversation wrapped up, there was an undeniable feeling left behind, a sense that viewers had just witnessed something rare. Not just celebrity engagement news, not just wedding talk, but a reminder that love, when it's real, doesn't need theatrics. It just needs honesty. Dove Cameron and Avan Joia aren't just thriving professionally, they're grounded emotionally. They're choosing partners who walk beside them, not ahead of them. And in a world obsessed with spectacle, that might be the most powerful love story of all. Congratulations to Dove Cameron, Damiano David, Avan Joia, and Halsey, not just on your engagements, but on building lives rooted in intention, creativity, and real connection.